how coronavirus is influencing van life. In this video, I want to share our experience as van lifers, and I want to share also what you can do about it and how you can react to it, and also what you can do in order to prepare as good as possible for such a situation. Hi, my name is Connie and I'm a full-time traveler. I'm traveling in a motorhome through Europe for 2 years, and in this channel I share my experience about it, and I share also how to make a motorhome more cozy and comfortable, and also how to get into the van life lifestyle. So if you're interested, please consider subscribing. But now let's get into the video. What's the current situation? For us, the current situation is that we are in Albania. 2 weeks ago, we came from Greece, entering Albania with the hope to actually get fast into Montenegro and enter the EU afterwards through Croatia. Unfortunately, that's not possible anymore. So we have been rejected as a border and we couldn't travel outside of Albania through this way. So we are stuck in Albania. That's actually the case for almost all the countries. So all the countries in Europe, they closed their borders. Some are more rigid than others, but in general, all borders are closed. There is an exception if you're inside the EU, that for most countries, they will allow still the transit towards your own home country. In addition to closed borders, there's a lockdown. Most countries apply some kind of stay-at-home policy or even have stay-at-home orders, and the same applies to Albania. So we are allowed to go out between 8 a.m. and 1 p.m. to do grocery shopping or fulfill other needs that we have, like filling our gas. But apart from that, we are supposed to stay at home. And that's a good thing, because that way we can flatten the curve. What comes on top, that's actually a little funny, campsites are closed. And closed campsites mean we are not allowed to go out of the country, we are not allowed to go out of the motorhome, but we are not allowed to be on campsites. And so what shall we do? Fortunately, in Albania, it's the case that we are able to stand wherever we want. So there is no restriction of their freedom of staying anywhere. In other countries, it's different. For instance, in Greece, you're not allowed to stand wherever you want. You have to be on a campsite, but the campsite is closed. Fortunately, the police is not that strict currently, and they allow people to be still on the ground. Wrapping up the situation: closed borders, stay-at-home policy, closed campsites. What to do? Well, there are lots of things that you can do when you're at home. You can read more, you can learn a new language, and other things. Well, others covered already a lot of those stay-at-home activities. I won't go into detail because they are not special to van lifers. What is special to us van lifers is that we actually carry our home with us. So what we can do is we can go to the nicest spot ever. Currently, not a lot of motorhome travelers are around, so the best places and the best spots are just free. So you can go there and nobody else is there. And you can look out the window and enjoy the scenery. In addition is that you cannot only enjoy the scenery from inside, but you can go out. It's not healthy to stay inside 17 square meters or even less all the time. And since those places are basically empty, you can go out and enjoy the nature. We are currently and at the beach, we are playing in the sand every day, and we have been also to the mountains. Well, it was too cold to hike, but if it's not too cold, go hiking, go out and jogging, or whatever you want to do in nature. And you can enjoy the nature as empty as possible currently. Well, some would say it doesn't show solidarity if you're going out and having fun while others have to stay home. Well, I think differently. So just imagine the current living space for Germans, for instance, is on average 85 square meters for a flat. And for us, we are living in 17 square meters. And I think that's a difference. So that's why don't blame yourself if you go out and have fun. As long as you don't meet other people, you will still help flattening the curve. A third thing that you should do as a van lifer when you're traveling outside your home country is contacting your embassy. They have lists with citizens which are inside the country that you're traveling, and they also organize return programs for their citizens if there is an emergency. So fingers crossed that we don't get into those emergencies and we are still be healthy and can stay here and travel only when the crisis is over. But in case of an emergency, there is a fallback option. This is what we do as van lifers when traveling in those crisis times. Now I want to know from you, what are you doing? How do you cope with the crisis? What do you do? And do you still enjoy traveling? Please write us in the comments below. Now we are coming to the third part of this video, the preparation. Of course, we didn't prepare for the corona crisis, as we didn't come up with such a scenario, and probably nobody else did. Maybe, except for Bill Gates a couple of years ago in a TED Talk. You find the link in the description below. But what we did prepare for is being as self-sustainable as possible if something happens. So what we did is we made sure that we were able to stand off the grid as long as possible, and also to have a time buffer and a money buffer. Regarding standing off the grid, for that we have to take care of our resources in the motorhome. And those resources are electricity, gas, water, and the limiting factor here is the water. So every 45 days we have to spend water. With electricity, we're actually good for kind of ever in this kind of climate. Gas, we have to get it filled only every 2 to 3 months. And for the capacity of our toilet, since we have a composting toilet, we are actually also good to go for a couple of weeks. So this is about the resources in our motorhome. To prepare for special scenarios, it's not only important to look after your resources, well, that's a basis, but what's also important is to create buffers. First, a time buffer, and second, also a financial buffer. For us, a time buffer is a couple of months. Well, we are traveling for 2 years through Europe, and we wanted to be back in May, which is not so far from now. But fortunately, we do have a time buffer until September. How long should be your time buffer? Well, it depends on how long you're going or what you want to see. But for us, it was very important to have a time buffer of a couple of months at least. On top of a time buffer, it's also important that you have a financial buffer. Well, money experts say that you have always a financial buffer of 3 to 6 months in order to cover your expenses when you're not able to work. And that's also true for you as a van lifer. And of course, you can always work while you're traveling, but what happens if you can't work? And for us, we even went a step further. We wanted to be covered for the entire travel. So we are traveling for 2 years, so we have our financials covered for 2 years. To wrap it up, we have closed borders, closed campsites, and a stay-at-home policy. And what you can do about it as a van lifer, in addition to what everybody else is doing, is you can choose wherever you want to stay, choose a nice scenery. You can go out and enjoy the nature. And the third thing is you can contact your embassy to take you back in cases of emergencies. To prepare for special scenarios like this, you should look after your resources, you should plan for a time buffer, and you should plan for a money buffer. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And also don't forget to subscribe to see more videos like this, and hit the bell in order to get notified if a new video is coming out. Please also share your ideas and what you do in such a situation in the comment section below. Yeah, and that's it for today. See you next time. Bye bye.